it's true. It was applying everywhere, and with everything that I knew, everything that I could find over the internet from the people. It was like nothing was working out, and there's no exaggeration to that. I'm a pretty self-sufficient person. I've always been. I like to do my homework and everything that I can try out, because I have been in the roles where I was leading the teams, so I knew how to take care of the things that are unforeseen, or you need to counter when you are making a strategy, or you are working towards something, but still nothing was working out. So I knew it was time I seek help, because that's the best thing that you can do for yourself. When you don't know or you cannot figure a way out, you look for help, and you try to find the best person that can help you out. And for me, it was you.
In this program. So where were you after the program? What happened?
My title says it all, doesn't it? That one does not need many words to answer. I actually landed a role in Deloitte, which is the Big Four, and anyone and everyone actually dreams of having to land a role there, and to actually and one of the things where some people would tell you when you're new here, is to not aim for the role that you actually had, but go a little lower so that you can build yourself back up. And I really did not want to do that, and you actually gave me the confidence to hold on to that, and carry myself with the expectations that I had and what I actually wanted. You did not push me into thinking otherwise, or even doubt me that no, I would have to start a little lower, or anything. And that was the biggest support that I needed at that time, because every piece of advice that I heard back then was along the similar lines, and I really did not want to give up on the experience that I had built back home, working with the international clients all over the world. I did not want to give up on that. I've learned that. I've worked my way off by making things happen for the organizations that I've worked with. So I really did not want to lose that. And you were that great person who had that confidence in me. So thank you so much for that. And just seek the help that you need. Sometimes your best friends or the support system that you have, they are the best people to actually put you out there, to believe in you. But sometimes you need that help that can actually point out the gaps that you need to fill to actually reach your full potential. Sometimes it can be your best friend. For me, it was Sweta.
To the community and not even forget where we were. That's a leadership. Do you know that? That's a leadership.
Thank you.
All right.
It was nice talking to you.
What happened? Wasn't she inspiring? I have another client named Rishi, inspiring stories, and you got to hear from him. He manifested this, and he said, I'd like to be on your show every time, because, when I go there, when I make it, I'm going to come in and share my stories. I'd like to be there. And today he's here again. Oh my God, I love that title, Lead Solutions Consultant. How does that feel?
It feels how you wanted me to feel about it in the management role, and I was not very sure about it. So yeah, it feels that it all happened too soon, to be honest. But now I have that title, and yeah, it's really nice to have that.
Wow.
Immigrant, it was a little challenging to start a job, search a job in a new country. It's always like, a little bit of a challenge because we work and we experience things in a certain way in our home country, and then here, you have to like start from the scratch. So I was struggling a little bit, and despite, I thought that I was well qualified, I had a lot of experience from back home, but I was struggling to actually get interviews in the Canadian job market. I was applying, but I was not getting interview calls. I was not really, feeling very motivated at that time. And that's when I talked to Sweta about it. I reached out, and then we started working together. I should be applying. I remember, Sweta, you told me you have to unlearn a few things and learn again. And at the time, I was not sure what's happening. But then I think I didn't even finish my program completely with Sweta, and I was getting interview calls. And at the time, I remember I had to, request for a session with Sweta urgently, because I was giving interviews that time. And yeah, that really helped me, to do my branding, to do my resume, my LinkedIn profile. I didn't realize how important networking is in Canada and how things work here. So I started going to these networking events, and I was like really, really new that time in Canada. And the first networking event that I attended here, I gave interview directly there, and after that, I had a couple of other rounds. On the spot, I got an offer there. That was my first job offer. And I was telling Sweta, at the time when we were working together, that someday I want to share the story on your live feed because I want to manifest this. I've heard people coming in and telling their stories, so I wish that this happens with me as well someday. So yeah, cut short to that day, I called Sweta immediately. It was freezing cold at the time. It was my first winters here, and I was like, Sweta, this has happened. I just want to take this because, of course, you're in a new country. You have to pay your bills. It's expensive, right? So I said, Sweta, I'm going to take this. How do you feel about it? And Shweta was probably in a session that time, and her response was, "You can't take this. Don't take this." And I was confused. Like I was waiting for a bus that time. I was confused. I literally had tears in my eyes because I moved here with the family, so I had like a lot of expenses at the time, and I was worried how I will financially support them. But that's when Shweta came in and she said that I believe in you. You're meant for bigger roles. This is a starting level job and you're meant for leadership roles based on my experiences. And I'm so glad. I cannot thank Shweta enough for that decision right now because it's been just 2 years from that day. But every time we speak, we talk about that decision that I took. I really, I said no to that particular job profile. After that, there's another incident experience. I just had 1 year of packing experience when I started initially in my home country, and I had almost forgotten about it. And Shweta was like, "You need to concentrate on this." And you guys won't believe I got an offer from one of the top banks here, and that was when I actually started feeling that you need to, trust people who are experts in their field, and you need to invest in yourself. And that was the second job that I politely rejected. And I was like humbly surprised that here I am, like a couple of months ago, I was not getting any interviews. I was applying blindly. I was not customizing my resume, my LinkedIn profile, and I was not getting a response. After working with Sweta, after I finished my program, I was already working in one of the public sector enterprises. From there, the journey has been really nice. I had to quit that job because I got a six-figure job after that. And yeah, that's like in a nutshell of how my experience has been. I've like, I've been thriving in my career since the time I've changed my job. I've got promotions. I've got a six-figure salary. So I would say my journey has been a 360-degree journey from where I started and after I worked with Sweta, who's planning to come here, who's sort of thinking of investing in themselves. I think my honest opinion and advice would be don't think about it. This is something that we really should look at it as an investment for ourselves. And I encourage everybody who's sort of already here or planning to come here, facing similar challenges, not getting roles or not getting interview calls, to probably work with an expert like Shweta, and she can probably guide the best way. One thing with Shweta is like she doesn't just have that professional connection. She's like more like your friend, and she would watch out and she'll make sure that you're taking the right steps. Between me and my wife, we decided that we would probably one of us would take up a job, whoever gets it first, and the other one would be with the kid so that it's easier for the kid to transition from one country to another. So yeah, I worked with Sweta. I got the job, and it was now earlier this year, my wife started thinking to get back to the job force. But fast forward to this year, it was already like 4 years since my wife had worked and that too in her home country. So yeah, no Canadian experience, no job experience here for the last 4 years. So that's when I told Shweta that, hey, I'm going to try and coach my wife the same way you coached me. Already applying, and whatever time she could get, she was trying to crack an interview, but that was not happening. Same story as me, and I'm sure others can also relate to that. But yeah, I started digging into the files from my program with Sweta, and whatever help I got from Sweta, I actually took out all those sessions. I made her practice. I took interview the way Sweta used to take my interviews. And I think it was like within a month, she started getting interview calls, and it just turned around. And now she's doing really well. She's hired as a quality assurance manager in a healthcare company, and she's also doing very well. Like for a first job in Canada, she's getting into six figures, and now she's almost completing her probation and going to looking at bigger and higher things. So yeah, thank you, Sweta, for that. Yeah, and at that time I was like this. All this looked like a distant dream, but yeah, all of this happened in a very short span of under 2 years, and yeah, I'm really happy about it. So can't thank you enough.
Well, I had a very cushy job in Doha, Qatar. Checking out when we decided that we were going to take up the opportunity in Canada. Whenever I went to all the job sites, they said numerous openings. You know, they were already hiring an internal candidate, right? So you need to do a tick in the box, and that's the industry I come from. And just when I thought, okay, fine, we'll give up and let's go back to where I came from, and that's when someone recommended Sweta, right? And then I contacted her. Right. Initially, yes. After 6 months, I said, okay, what more can she do? It was the last ditch effort. But then, yeah, it was an eye opener. I realized how my resume was totally messed up, and that's why I wasn't getting shortlisted. And she gave me her tips. And then the biggest part was how my LinkedIn was changed, right? And we did that probably the first week, honestly. And and when she came back, she said, first time she said, I thought I had one of the best resumes in the world, right? Because it was like by a lot of multinationals. And then when she saw it, she said it's junk. And I was so disappointed. I said, does she know what she's saying? Because the biggest multinationals had not rejected it back in India and Qatar. But then on the fourth week, I got my first interview call right out of LinkedIn, right? And by the fifth week, I was working. And I told Sweta, thank you so much. That's it. I still don't, I still have goosebumps of how it all happened. But then I think it's thanks to her where I changed. It goes down to the minutest of details on LinkedIn, which you would never even know existed, right? And you change all of that. And that's where all the recruiters, they start calling you. And, profile that I was looking for, the position I was looking for, and the remuneration was much more than what I was looking for. Right, my first pay itself was like pretty good, and then on top of it, she said, she also gives you tips on how you can get your first hike. That's happened. Coming in, my role is changing. It's going more from a local to a global. So I'm gonna have accounting teams across the globe, right from Australia, Mongolia, Indonesia, all reporting into me. So even after I joined, though we didn't have the fifth and sixth classes at that time, I thought it was unnecessary, or I wouldn't say unnecessary. I got busy with work, but then I still went back, and I have all her notes, I have all her documents that she sent. I go back to it, and that's helped me again. And I have been getting a call every month after that, right? And everybody's been offering a job, and I've upped my ante. So if somebody has to pry me away from this place, it has to be double, right, Sweta? I've learned it from you, right? So I can't thank you enough. But then if any of you are even looking at like what can Sweta do, join her, and then she'll work wonders on you, whoever you are. Trust me. Obviously, that's 98%, but then you need the 2% luck, right? But then 98% is teach and do, no doubt about it. There is no doubt.
It's
But
useful.
then getting also, and see, for me, why I say lucky, Sweta, in the fourth week, I got a call from exactly the kind of role I was looking, right? You were very confident. I wasn't at that time, and I still say I'm lucky. But then, yeah, you know your job. You helped me with it, and the way you handheld me, like till the last minute of before the interview started, you were telling me what to do. You were responding. You were on calls with me, saying, "Okay, this is what it is. If they say this, say do this." You coached me on exactly what to say on the interview as well, right? So that's what I'm saying. It is, I owe it to you.
My story. So as you mentioned, I was doing entry-level positions as soon as I graduated from university. Actually, it took me about 6 months to find even the entry-level position after the university. And then after the university, I always wanted to grow, but my resume and my approach, was always missing. Stuck at my entry-level position with the dead-end job for a long time. So that's what frustrated me. It frustrated me so much that I ended up not actually updating my resume because I was so tired of updating resume over and over again. So I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna sit here in my existing role, entry-level position. I'll update my resume maybe next week, and next week never came. I just didn't have any guidance. I wanted, but there was no guidance, right? So, in fact, as you know, I even hired others to make resume programs, right? One size doesn't fit all. Those resume, which was ready-made and tailor-made, it was not tailor-made for each role, right? So each role requires tailorized resume, but I hired person to make only one resume, and one resume would cost a tons, right? So but after seeing the results of your program, all those testimonials in your website and on the social media, I signed up, and it really did work for me. It's sort of overwhelming because I see lots of private messages from recruiters and companies asking me if I'm available, even though my LinkedIn profile is closed right now. I'm not looking actively. I'm at the really right spot at the right company I would apply to. And that's when I got plenty of responses from recruiters and companies after applying resume building and interview skills from your program. And that was just the resume building and interview skills from your program, right? A course as well, which frankly made my CPA journey much easier. So thanks to you. Your program actually offered techniques in addressing issue as a core-based format and answering them which CPA requires. So I was able to pass all levels of CPA using competencies offered by your program because CPA exams and assignments require solving problems using same techniques offered in your program. So that was 2 years ago. Yay, I'm a CPA now. Yeah, right. So these are the techniques, quite frankly, not taught in colleges and university, which they should, right? They don't teach interpersonal skills, workplace skills. They don't teach this car model in the universities, college, or any school. So your program will help me breeze through that first 1 year, and then apply the same logic into my CAP board exam and other assignments as well. So it's also the current workplace. So, and to this day, I use these techniques, as mentioned, not just CPA in the past. I also use this in addressing any issues, be it emails or constant meetings or presentations in the real world, at my workplace, around my boss, around my colleagues, around the other stakeholders. It has helped me a lot. And I've switched jobs 3 times since I signed up into your program, as you mentioned, with pay bump each time, significant pay bump. And each time I've been able to negotiate better pay, working 100% remotely, as working on site is not feasible for me. Sometimes recruiter reaches out to me with the hybrid work model. To them anymore because I have that leverage to negotiate from the skills you have taught me to find a work that is 100% remote. And then there's also as I mentioned, a program. This program offers a lifetime skills that that can be applied to any field, any industry that you're working for. There's no expiration date for the techniques I have learned from your program, so I can apply them as much as I like without having to, pay every time, right? It's a lifetime skills, and be it to switch the jobs or to answering issues, addressing issues to the stakeholders at the workplace or any other environment. So, thank you for coaching me. That's all I can.
The story keeps on getting better and better. All right, let's go back. With this program, you get all these. You heard it. People are like, I'm clear. I know what I want. I have my confidence back. I have effective communication mastery at workplace.